Chapter 873, Undetectable Communication. After entering 22 Phelps Street, Audrey instantly saw Dwayne Dance walk out from the side corridor. This good-looking and gentlemanly gentleman was wearing a black formal suit and holding a gold-inlaid cane. He was communicating with the foundation staff beside him. As though sensing Audrey's gaze, Dwayne Dance naturally turned his head and looked at the door. Then, his eyes lit up in amazement like he had seen a treasure. Following that, he smiled and gently nodded as a greeting. Audrey returned with a smile and nod that wasn't a breach of etiquette in any way. She then followed the lone Charity Bursary Foundation staff that came to escort her and walked up to the second floor. During this process, although she didn't look in any other direction, but be it the talent of a woman or her instincts as a spectator, they told her that Dwayne Dance's gaze kept following her figure in secret until the wall beside the staircase blocked his view. Impeccable acting, he perfectly played out the reaction of what a gentleman who has zero resistance against beauties but remains sufficiently reserved and cultured would do when meeting me for the second time. It's as though we have only met once at the charity party the last time. It's exactly as I imagined. He was even able to light up his eyes. This is a technique that's part of his Beyonder pathway, or is it an ability that he possesses to begin with? I have to say that J.M. Sparrow, I think it's better to use Mr. J.M. Sparrow is a professional, no, an excellent actor. Furthermore, he doesn't act in an exaggerated manner like those play actors. Audrey complimented in thought before seeing a few reporters waiting to interview her about the establishment of the Lone Charity Bursary Foundation on the second floor. She wasn't a noble lady who enjoyed having her photo plastered on the papers. As she exchanged a few words with her valet that had accompanied her to inform the reporters that pictures were forbidden by Earl Hall's authority, she went into the VIP lounge with her lady's maid, Annie. Earl Hall was friends with the owners of a few publishing houses and had made the corresponding investments to acquire quite a bit of their shares. If Audrey so wished, she could exchange some of the estate she received in order to create a sizable publishing house. In the VIP lounge, Audrey, who didn't find it appropriate to bring her dog, greeted the children of the rich and aristocracy, as well as the church's clergymen. She habitually found a seat where she could see everyone, and she waited until the opening ceremony began and for the first board of directors meeting to begin. She surveyed the area and said to the female staff that was in charge of escorting her, "Lovesa, this is my first time joining in the actual operations of a charity organization. I wish to know what we should do." The lady named Lovesa was still in her 20s. She also had blonde hair with somewhat rough skin and tanned freckles. However, her smile was brilliant, making her rather affectionate. Upon hearing Audrey's question, Lovesa introduced without holding anything back. The current plan is to not be too eager in widening the scale. We will start mainly with Backland and reach deep into the public primary schools, weekday schools, and night schools, promoting the bursary to all the students and let those in need to apply to us. After the application, we will organize a committee to do the exact audit. This will not only require us to make some verifications with the government, but we would also walk across the grounds to understand the candidate's actual situation. Once the examination is over, we will disperse the bursary and help the poor who yearn for knowledge to change their fates. Just as Lovesa said that, a male voice filled with magnetism interjected, "I have 2 suggestions. The first suggestion is that staff are to be gathered today to head to the different weekday schools, night schools, and public primary schools to promote the bursary. June is the examination period, and it's a critical period for them to enter institutes of higher learning. If we aren't efficient enough, there will be many students from poor families that will give up taking the examination because of the lack of funds. Even if they later learn of the existence of the Bursary Foundation, they won't be able to withstand the loss of wasting a year. As such, they will lose the chance at changing their fate. What we are doing might seem simple, but it completely affects each and every child's life. Therefore, we need to begin quickly and not waste any time." The person who was speaking was none other than Dwayne Dance, who had just entered the lounge. He expressed his thoughts with a warm but serious expression. "All right, June is the examination period. be it entering grammar school or the preparations to enter university, as well as the various technical schools to gain experience in their profession. This is a critical period. Once they give up the entry examinations this time, they will have to wait till next June. I actually forgot this. Ma'am Lovesa and the foundation staff seems to have missed this problem. Mr. Dwayne Dance actually noticed such a detail and had considered those children who are so close to giving up their dreams. He's actually a person with a gentle heart. Audrey suddenly felt that she had a new take on Dwayne Dance, on J.M. and Sparrow. This was what a spectator had just obtained. A cold assassin, adventurer on the surface but has a warm heart deep down. Unfortunately, I've only been able to obtain descriptions regarding J.M. and Sparrow's crazy side. I'm unable to find any concrete proof. Audrey blinked as she carefully listened to Dwayne Dance's suggestions. Second suggestion: in regards to the bursaries that are to be dispersed, it's best if it's put in the corresponding bank account. When school fees need to be paid, they can bring their documents to us to apply for a withdrawal. For relatively cheaper board and lodging, things don't have to be that troublesome. They can obtain a fixed sum of money every month or week. This is to prevent the applicant's parents and siblings from spending the money. To a poor family, this is an irresistible temptation. Similarly, an account corresponds to one person. No matter who is withdrawing it, the person has to be present. This can effectively prevent people from suffering from the trial of greed. Having said that, Klein pressed his palm to his chest and said to Audrey and Lovesa, "Sorry, pardon me for barging into your conversation." Audrey smiled and said, "Mr. Dance, your suggestions are excellent. You have opened my eyes to matters that I never considered before. The only problem is that what you say to us is meaningless. I'm only listening to Ma'am Lovesa's introduction." Lovesa smiled and said, "Yes, you should mention all of these at the first board of directors meeting. Don't you see me deliberately coming over to convince Miss Audrey first? With Justice's part in this, I can ensure that there will be no objections from the board of directors. Otherwise, it might easily be tabled or altered by someone using some excuse such as lacking manpower." Klein made an enlightened and regretful expression as he rubbed his palms slightly. "Look at me, being all anxious about these matters and forgetting my place. Ha ha ha. Sometimes, I just wish that things will be made into reality once I'm given the chance. Mr. Dwayne Dance's acting is a little exaggerated. He should know that he can't fool me. Oh, he's doing it deliberately to communicate with me ahead of time without leaving behind any traces. He wants me to support him." Audrey instantly read his thoughts as her smile turned clearer. Although she hadn't communicated with the world ahead of time, she believed that she would support this tarot club member of hers. However, being able to exchange some ideas ahead of time left her rather happy. This was because she felt that he was treating her as an equal. After forgiving Dwayne Dance's recklessness and watching the man walk to the table with beverages and pastries in the lounge, Audrey looked away and said to Lovesa, "What I'm responsible for is to raise funds at different occasions and to communicate with the government and parliament." "That should be a simple matter for you," Lovesa answered frankly. This was also why the church's charity department didn't object to Audrey Hall's participation. In fact, they were very supportive of it. Audrey nodded in thought and said, "If I have the time to spare, can I join you in visiting the different schools for the promotions, as well as the examination of the candidates?" Lovesa was originally unwilling to agree, worried that the environment wasn't suitable for Miss Audrey. But when she saw her clear green eyes and took in her request that she couldn't resist, her heart softened. She felt that such kindness shouldn't be stopped. It wasn't to be isolated from the reality of the lower class. If Miss Audrey sees true misery and ugliness and is still willing to help the pitiful people, she will definitely be able to be of greater use. It will prevent the higher-ups from always formulating unrealistic measures. Lovesa quickly found a convincing reason as she sighed and smiled. "No problem. However, you won't be able to wear such a dress or wear any jewelry." "What do I do with Lai? Turn it into a bracelet and hide it under my sleeves?" Audrey thought as she replied with a smile, "All right." With Miss Audrey Hall's support, the Lone Charity Bursary Foundation's first board of directors meeting ended perfectly after its establishment. Klein returned to 160 Birkeland Street in a good mood. Following his usual habits, he entered his master bedroom at around 2 to have an afternoon nap. In his hazy dream, Klein suddenly jolted awake and sensed something. Someone was attempting to infiltrate his dream. Who is it now? I'm even getting disturbed in my afternoon naps. As Klein mumbled, he made the dream transform into the half-open room with the balcony. Then he saw the black-haired, green-eyed Leonard with his unkempt clothes somersault through the window. Does this fellow not know how to use the main door? Why is he suddenly here? I should remember to get his contact method. Klein sat in his reclining chair, feeling peeved and amused. He looked at the poet with a leisurely expression and said, "This is an impolite way of visiting me." When Leonard heard that, he bowed in a manner that lacked standards. "Mr. Dance, I have something I would like to consult you on." "Consult, that's a nice attitude. Also, it doesn't seem to be anything major." Klein secretly tisked as he said, "What's the matter?" Leonard grabbed a seat and deliberated before asking, "You were embroiled in Cuaron's suicide. Who do you think the real murderer is?" If I wanted to know, I would have thrown out Frank's mushrooms. However, I can't say that I've no idea at all. That just lowers the impression he has on me. Klein was very accustomed to such situations, so he expertly laughed and instead of answering, asked, "How were your investigations?"